Here we have basic syntax, some of Bootstrap Google Apis jQuery and Bootstrap CDNS for button, and these are included as class names in buttons to applying different styling like color, hovering, and many more. And here this is linked to the CSS file for HTML. And here at bottom we have JavaScript file linkage for HTML. Here we have two div elements, main and container, namely classes respectively, with their opening and closing tags. Here p tags with p1 and p2 ids and corresponding CSS color and font weight, all those stuff, and this is h2 tag styling. And here this is how images are placed, giving align properties with their values. This is SVG element and all its elements and properties. G tag in the sense grouping of all the elements. All these are surrounded by div container and SVG object, then G tags layer. And these are all INE elements with respective class names. For the functionality of the blue data add button is like when we click on it, the model changes to orange color, which was earlier red, and when we hit on date remove blue, it simply removes blue color, which all is obtained by CSS and JavaScript. Here in CSS, whenever .blue is being hit, the top class fill changes to orange, and so this can change instantaneously, but to change whenever the button is being hit, which requires JS. Here in JS we select all the buttons class buttons and store it in btns. Then all the elements of the object class by array notation and store it in object variable. And then loop it through up to btns length starting from 0 and add event listener on click event call function named manage inside manage function, so whenever that particular button is hit among all array of button and object elements to add to class list data add, and also that CSS styling gets called and changes the fill color of .blue's data add attribute of top named class, and whenever the other is being hit to remove from the class list data remove. Now all by CSS, and now .ignite data attribute acts on this line, and these can found by developer options and also can be by applying CSS to each element and checking and naming via class to differentiate from each other, which is advantage of SVG scalar vector graphics by manipulating the elements by CSS and JS. And now this line can be transformed, and sizing using scale and transform origin can be set developer options method, and this can also be applied to other lines, so that finally when the ignite button get hit, then these styling get applied to class named with these lines, and when the stop button is hit it comes to initial position. And now this move button will move whole structure, and for arrow using animation for using keyframes of moves by translating along Y, and this small line can rotate by transform by keyframes animation. And other small line too can be animated in the same way by keyframes animation. And other small line too can be animated in the same way by keyframes animation. And then this body can also be slightly rotated by moved keyframes animation, and then total layer class can rotation along Y and X, all by transform and by keyframes moving animation. All these element animate for respective time and infinitely, and all by data attribute valued move so as to apply styling to appropriate class named elements. And for container class, if perspective is small then it's like audience is nearer to object and object appears bigger, and if given big value then it's like seeing from far point and an appropriate values should be given.